So with the second episode of UQ Holder, we get more and more into the fray, and possibly, you know, one of the weirdest characters introduced into the entire series, because not really a boy or a girl, it's a weird fucking mishmash. Like, listen, Kuromaru, that's a weird fucking whole bag you get into, and I know some people will probably think that's their husbando slash waifu, but trust me, that's a weird mixed bag for the most part. Yeah, that little stuff I'm not gonna get too much into. So a lot of the time, like when I came into the first episode, I was pretty negative with the first one. I was like pretty criticizing how it was changing things around, how like it didn't look that impressive. And like, to be fair, I was like, okay, maybe that's a first episode sort of thing. Like certain shows sometimes don't have the greatest first episodes, or a little bit slow and all that. And like maybe they give, you know, like a second one a try and all that, see how it is and all that. I like to give shows a little bit of a chance, because first episode and all that, normally a lot of the time it can either be really good and they'll hook you in, and it can go bad, or it could be the other way around. It could be a little bit slow at the start and get better. And with reading the manga, and just say as well that kind of one of my suspicions was true about this, and that they are really rushing through these volumes and all that. Like, even throughout the second episode, we've already passed like the first volume of the series as well. One of the interesting things, though, about this, though, is that they are skipping material. There's like a couple of chapters in here. I believe one that was like kind of like missed out. It's like the second chapter of the entire series. And to be fair, it was like it was kind of one-off sort of thing, just out of nowhere. So I kind of understand. And then I think they did around like 2 to 3 in this one, finishing off the volume. And I've got to say, I'm not really too much against that and all that, but it clearly shows where they want to end, and with everything that they want to be calling it, with the whole like UQ Holder, like Mahou Sensei Negima 2, I feel like that has a reason why they want to catch up to the material. That's the reason why it's titled this way, and it's sort of a bigger reason why I think like a lot of the things happened as well, and why the manga kind of changed, because I guess the future events of the manga has a lot to do now more with Negima, while like the start, it hasn't really got anything. And that's the weird thing, like the start of the show and a lot of things, it doesn't really have anything too much to do with Negima for the most part, apart from a couple of few characters here and all that, apart from like, yeah, like Imogene, like she's like one of the only few characters and all that, like just there, like, and you got like with Kuromaru as well, like having a source start similar to one of the characters in the original Negima series. And like you see this character and it's like, oh, let's be friends, and like his whole thing is that his family is a bunch of immortal hunters and they're supposed to go out there, and he's got a target to go after McDowell, and it's like, oh, well, this is my destiny and it's a shame and we could be friends, you know, it's all that kind of shit going on to there. And like they had a fight, and it's like, you know, beat Tota, and if not and all that, you'll be like, his whole command is like, if I beat you, you be my friend, if I lose and all that, you do what he wants. And like you get to see that he's adjusting to his immortal powers. Like immediately Kuromaru like cuts his head off in the middle of the fight, and he just puts it back on, and he's like, yeah, no, that's easy to do. And then we find out Kuromaru as well as an immortal. So like, and then it was the weirdest thing, and I forgot that this was even in the manga or not, like, but it's like, hey, are like immortals common or not? And no, it's like, oh yeah, they are. And that's a little bit weird about that when you come to that. And even as well with like most shonen series you think about, where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter and all that for the most part and all that, they're the main character, no way they'll be beaten most of the time. But you've got that additional thing where it's like they're immortal, they can't really die unless it's very, very specific kind of reasons, like how you can kill them. And it's very jarring. And like I keep going back with this show, and it's like, it's not that this is a bad show or anything. It's like, and I think like one of the things that are like going into it is that I find it very just underwhelming compared to other shows on there. And I like the some of the material and all that. I think like it gets a little bit better like later on and all that, at least from like the 3 or 4 volumes that I read of the manga. But even still and all that, like just going through this and all that, and even with all the changes that they're going through, like when it wants to try and be an action series, it doesn't really flare it to other like action shows out there. Like when we see from there, like some of the animation looks really still. There's like one little bit of the fight where it's like it's just the same 3 frames of animation of like Tota and like Kuromaru just fighting each other. It just looked really jarring. It's like you get that, and then when it wants to be like a raunchy kind of like kind of rom-com like harem sort of thing, it isn't even that appealing as well in that sort of degree as well. So I feel like if anything, the show is having a bit of an identity crisis, because I don't think as well at this point the author knew what it wanted to be. And the same thing with also as well the anime creators, when they're trying to change a few things around as well, they're like, what can we do with this material? And I feel like it's just a whole big mishmash of everything and all that, and I'm like, And that's like, I don't think this show is bad. If you enjoy the show, I am glad and all that, but to me personally and all that from it, it's just personally, it's not doing it for me. And I think this is the one show where it's like, I wanted to see the second episode, give it, and I wanted to give my thoughts on it, and I was like, after like coming back from this one, from the episode and everything, I mean, there was a few funny moments on there, like when like McDowell, like she like used the whole giant ice rain on there. But I think personally and all that, like with all the weird things that they're going to be doing, they're going to be probably skipping a lot of stuff like in the entire like episode. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of things later on in the series that they're just going to like skim through material. So I hope, like, it's a shame. I feel like if anything and all that, if you want the actual material, like whole experience and all that, then you probably would be best going with the manga and all that. But even still and all that, I don't really hear too many people talk about the manga these days, so like I'm curious to see if it's still good or not. I do know like it's like a monthly now, or like it changed like from the being a weekly to like a monthly bi-monthly sort of status. But I'm kind of curious to what you guys think as well. Is it just me where I'm just being a grumpy old man with this one, where it's like, nah, like I feel if anything, this is the most 5 out of 10 show that I've seen in a while, where it's like, I don't love it, and I don't hate it. It's just there in the middle, and it's like, it's fine. But I feel like I need something a little bit more, like, either way and all that. And it's like, to push me saying, like, if this is so bad, you need to see this. Or this is so good, oh my god, you need to watch this right now. And I feel like that's where this show is going to crush at the end of this, like, whole series and all that. Is that it's going to be none of those things, and it's going to be, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a forgetting, like, a title of this season, where people are like, remember that fucking show? And you're like, no, for the most part. It's a shame, because I really want to get more into Negima and read more of that, but I think I might just honestly go with the original series and just start off from there for the most part, because I've only seen little bits of Negima, and it looks fantastic from what, like, friends showed me back in the day when it gets into serious action, so maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Holders like that as well, but I have to wait and see and all that, and I think this will be the last review that I do for, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Holder. Unless episode 3 is, like, really outstanding or is just really interesting, then, you know, I'll try and keep an eye on the show, but personally, you know, I think I've got all what I wanted from this show. So all for me, thank you as always for watching, what do you think about the episode, and I'll see you guys, though, next time.